Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first draft analysis video in the PDL. This season, we will be having 4 divisions. We will be having the Lechonk Division, the Swinub Division, the Tepig Division, and the Spoink Division. For you guys who do not know me, I am Tytheguy004, a resident content creator on YouTube, and I'm sure that you guys have at least seen me once before. From videos maybe like my PWC Finals game, which I did win, or my Iron Boulder video, which in my opinion it's my most viewed video, but besides the point. I'm here, Wrecker Man brought me in. Let's get on right away with the Lechonk Division power rankings. Now, I ranked these teams based on a couple of different standards that I hope you and me can both agree on. These are if you have the necessary cores on a draft league team, these being Fire, Water, Grass, and Fairy, Steel, Dragon, alongside a somewhat good Ghost type, a fast electric type, or just an electric type in general. I was very lenient on those two. I don't know why I'm forgetting my criteria now. Synergy was another one of the main ones. And if your speed tiers are shit. And I'm sorry for my language, but I do not have a family-friendly sensor, so you're gonna have to deal with me. So coming last year, I'm going to be going from 7 to 1 or 8 to 1. I don't remember how many teams there were. I did not count. But starting it off here, we have They Call Me Gage. Now, this team's removal isn't the best. Your rapid spinner is Regieleki. I'm pretty sure that Zapdos does have access to Defog, but besides that, you don't got much, and you really want to bring a Regieleki to every match. I'm unsure of that. The Fire, Water, Grass core on this team is Palafin, Superior, Centiskorch, but in most matchups, the Centiskorch will tear it out of the Fire type, so having that be your only Fire type on this whole team kind of sucks. Superior, also not the best Grass type in a Gen 9 format where it cannot Terra. Palafin, though, is going to be the carrier in this case. Palafin is very, very good with Banded sets, Punching Glove sets, Choice Scarf sets. All of the sets are pretty good. And this team does not have a Dragon Fairy Steel combo. It has Mega Gardevoir, it has Orthworm, but it does not have a Dragon type on it, which in this format isn't needed, don't get me wrong, but it is definitely not the best case scenario. Your breakers on this team, being Palafin, Mega Gardevoir, and Galarian Zapdos, are very, very easy to maneuver around. Now, if they're set up, that's a different story, but this is just for breaking. So this is like Choice Banded sets and Choice Spec sets, even though Mega Gardevoir has to run the Gardevoir. Palafin, very easy to move it around. You can just switch into Grass type pretty much, and if he doesn't make reads, he'll have to make a shit ton of reads for this to work out. Palafin will be walled by most, if not all, Grass types if it locks into a Stab Water move. And then Galarian Zapdos, same thing for you. You have a lot more coverage though than Palafin, so you're not in like the worst case scenario, but they're still very easy to move around once you know the movesets. This team does have some really good hazards though, however, with Tinglu bringing Stealth Rocks and Spikes, Orthworm bringing Spikes or just Stealth Rocks, and I believe Nihilego also learns Stealth Rocks. And there's no Toxic Spike setter. Oh wait, no, Nihilego, yes, Toxic Spikes from Nihilego. I apologize. This team, however, does not have a very good Ghost type, as it is Frostlass in this case. Frostlass isn't the best Pokemon, as a lot of us know. Personally, this being at 7 points is an overprice in my book, but I feel like that if Gage here can play Frostlass properly, there's a very high chance that he can do pretty good with it. Next up, in the 6th position, assuming you have 7 coaches, is Burke. Burke has some very good removal options. He has Excadrill with Rapid Spin, Talonflame with Defog, and Masquerain with Defog. I don't know why I forgot about that. But he's got 2 Defoggers and a Rapid Spinner. Excadrill being one of the best Rapid Spinners in all of Nat decks. He also has some very strong and defensive Terra Captains with Knucklestack and Pawmot, both being good for different reasons. Pawmot used for the offensive, of course, and Knucklestack used for the defensive capabilities that it has. This team, however, is lacking some synergy and has a couple of type overlaps that I did notice. Double Ground type with the Excadrill Gastrodon combo, and double Steel type with Bisharp or Excadrill. Double, I believe there's one more that I noticed, but I could be wrong. Nope, okay. The team's cores are pretty good though. Besides all the synergy issues, they have a wonderful Fairy Steel Dragon core, a Latios Clefable Excadrill, and a wonderful Fire, Water, Grass core with Gastrodon, Talonflame, Sinistcha. This team also does have a pretty fast electric type in Pawmot being a base 95, I believe. The Ghost type also pretty good in Sinistcha. Sinistcha is an incredible. Shocked that you did not make it a Terra Captain on this team. But hey, I still think I could put work in without Terra. There's a couple of oddball picks though here that I do want to mention, being the Scolipede. Scolipede could have probably been used for a better mon. Probably could have been used for a better defensive poison type on this team, which probably would have helped you a little bit out here. But since Scolipede is so frail and offensive, I feel like that poison type range just won't be brought much. And despite all the good removal, Toxic could be an issue for this team. Next up though, in the 5th position, oh wait, my bad, I have one more point. The Terra Captain types. Knuckle Stack, I absolutely love this thing with Rock, Steel, Fairy. I run it most of the time when it's forced to run Stab as one of the types. And when it isn't, I go normally Steel, Fairy, Water. So I'm fine with that. Palmot, Electric Fighting, Steel, double Stab, I understand. But Steel kind of throws me off. It doesn't have like Iron Head or anything like that. I would have went personally with a Terra Dark on that thing for some knockoff boosts, or Terra Fairy for the play rough boost. Next up though, we have I'm hoping I'm saying this right, a Plazora. Now this team has some very good removal, with its first pick being Gliscor and the 4th pick being Cyclozar, having very good Rapid Spinners and Defoggers. Now the issue with this team is that it has no special breaker. Now I understand Aegislash can be ran special, right? Cyclozar can be ran special. But when they do, they are not used to be breakers. It's weird with them. Milotic cannot really break unless it's choice specs, and even if it's way too slow for that role, Diancie, once again, too slow and needs setup to really bust through a team, and it's going to be the same with Rotom Frost and Orbeetle. And as I kind of said before, this team is very physical with Gliscor, Cinderace, Aegislash, Chestnut, Mega Beedrill, and Umbreon, all being physically oriented Pokemon. But besides all that, he does have some very good Terramons in Diancie and Rotom Frost. Diancie has some pretty weird typings on it with Fairy, Grass, and Poison. But besides that, I think that Applezora can put some work in with those mons. And for Rotom Frost, on the other hand, I feel like it's a very good mon. It has some very good types on it with Ice, Fire, and Fairy. Sorry about this, by the way, in case you can see my cursor. Just gonna get that out the way so that I'm not bugged. And if you didn't see that, then I apologize. Continuing on though, the hazards on this team are pretty good. You got Stealth Rock Spike with Gliscor, Sticky Web with Orbeetle, Stealth Rock with Diancie. The Hazard Blocker and Aegislash also pretty good, which leans into my core aspect, where you do have the Steel, Dragon, Fairy Core and Diancie, Cyclozar, Aegislash, and a Fire, Water, Grass Core of Cinderace, Milotic, and Chestnut. Moving on though to my 4th ranked team. Oh shit. That is not meant to happen. I apologize for that. It's Brody. Brody has what I thought at first was a very good team until I noticed something huge on it. This team doesn't have a Ghost type or an Electric type, which were two of the things I said I would have been looking out for. Because since you have no Electric type and since you have no Ghost type, you're kind of put in a bad spot here. And if changes were made, I apologize. I was going off what I was given the doc on, at this point, April 21st. So, sorry about that. This team has some very good physical and special breakers in Mega Latios, King Gambit, Victini, and Zarude. The hazard removal is pretty good, as Latios, Togekiss, Avalugg all have ways to remove hazards. Speed tiers are a bit iffy because you don't have like base. Like you have like some of the good stuff, like Mega Latios, fast, Victini, base 100, King Gambit, like 50, Zarude, like maybe 90, I think 95, Suicune, 95, Avalugg, 40, Doug Trio. Like you don't have a base 80. Your base 70 is a Togekiss, which you want to run defensive half the time. And yeah. And last but not least, I do love the Terra Captains on this team. Avalugg being one of my favorite Terra Captains ever. As you saw in PWC, yes, I'm going to be linking a lot of this myself because I'm thinking that it's going up on my channel, but it's not. Okay, but I used Terra Avalugg in the PWC Draft League, and I was able to go and win the league with it on my team, coming to 2 games sadly, but wish I could have brought it to more. Exceligor, I feel like could be an incredible Terra Captain. This thing has such good capabilities with it. Oh shit, that was my fault. such capabilities with it, and I feel like with the right moveset and the right abilities and sets, that Brody here can make Excelgor work, and then Muck's just always been a staple Terra captain on a lot of teams with Ghost and Steel. It's a very common one that we see, but it's still very good, and I do appreciate it. And as you saw, on my third place team here, and I have no wait for it, it's gonna be Martin and his team. Martin, in this case, has some very good physical breakers in Thomas and the Crown and Meowscarada. And is lacking a bit specially, even though he does have Dragalge to his access. And Sandy Shocks, it's kind of lacking because you don't want to run Choice Spec Sandy Shocks, and on Dragalge it's a little bit slow. Your removal situation on this team is a little bit weird. Now, you have Mons like Blastoise and Komala, right? But here's the situation, okay? If you ever don't want to run Blastoise in a game, and you have a very bad hazard matchup, you're forced to bring either a Rapid Spin Terra Komala or a Defog Dragonite. If Dragonite is used defensively, you might have a little bit of an issue breaking some very, very good Mons in the format, as Dragonite can do that. On this team, I do love the addition of Screamtail as a nice Wish Passer to support the Samus on the Crown, and some other defensive Pokemon like Skeledirge, Blastoise, and Dragonite to restore its multiscale. And on this team, it has a very odd Terra Captain situation, as you're going to want to bring Dragalge to most games, but you for some reason decided to draft Komala and Carkol with Terra. Now Komala, I will never doubt that thing. It's very good, I guess. It's risky when you don't know what's happening. But Carkol, on the other hand, Carkol, I could shit talk a little bit. Stuff talking Carkol. It is very, very weak. Hopefully with an Eviolite and a Terra Steel on it, or Fairy, you can make this Mon work, because I do have trust in you, Martin. I very much do. Next up, we have the second place team in Caltech. Caltech, you have a very, very fucking good team. Excuse my language. You have a very good physical and special breaker in Landorus Incarnate and Mega Medicham, but alongside that, you even have Regidrago with Terra, which is an absolute demon in that deck's draft. Chi-Yu to break him more physically, or more specially. And if you want to break him a little bit physically, you have Drapion there with a little bit of slow breaking. On this team, you also have some nice hazard removal, as Empoleon gets Defog, Turtonator gets Rapid Spin, and yeah, Terra Captains on this team are incredible. Love Terra Regidrago, as I mentioned before. Turtonator, I just drafted it, speaking of, but I'm not gonna say anything else on that because I want to post a draft review soon. But Turtonator has some very cool types and a very cool moveset for what I'm hoping could work. And the low tiers on this team compared to the high tiers balance out actually very well. The low tiers in like Miltank, Drapion, Turtonator, very well balanced out with like Mega Medicham, Empoleon, Tangrowth, stuff like that. But the only thing that's a little bit weird with this team, and the only reason why I didn't put it as the first team, is the Boltund situation. Now, that and that this team doesn't have a ghost type. First, I want to talk about Boltund though. Boltund is, we'll say, a rather weak Pokemon. It has Strong Jaw, it has all the Fang moves. I think it's good, but I don't believe that you could have a team where Boltund is your only electric type. And that's just a personal thing, but I do feel like it impacts this team a lot. And last but at least the ghost type thing, I wouldn't worry about it much on this team. Hazards are not going to be your biggest weakness on this team. It's going to be you hopefully breaking open their team. This is just a raw hyper offense team with a couple defensive pieces. And last but not least, the number one team in the league, according to me, is Haunch. Haunch has some very good special and physical breakers, including Dragapult, Mega Lopunny, and Iron Boulder. The defensive pivots on this team are actually crazy though, with Ferrothorn, Primarina, and Moltres being your Fire Fairy or Fire Water Grass Core, and Ferrothorn, Primarina, Dragapult being your Fairy Steel Dragon Core. Alongside those, you have the Claydol and Electros to pivot into other defensive mons, and are also some pretty good Terra mons, especially in this format. Having a Levitating Poison type and Steel type is very, very strong, so that you can use it offensively and defensively. Electros, on the other hand, Also with a poison type, I like it. One of the things that I do see this team being very good at though is removal, as it has access to Defog on Moltres and Rapid Spin on Claydol. The speed tiers on this team are actually pretty good compared to a lot of the other teams in this draft, with Dragapult being top, followed by Megalopony, Iron Boulder, Kingler at 90 something, and from there I'm not going to go. But I believe it's Nidoqueen, Purbarina, Electros, Claydol, Ferrothorn, in that order, which is, it evens out. There's no like a base 88 or some of that, and this Kingler is, which I have no clue. You know, like, this team is just super good. I have nothing to critique it on. I can just compliment it. The special breakers are there. The physical breakers are there. I can, however, talk about one tiny thing here, and that is that you could have definitely made, I don't know what I'm actually going to say. That's just a stupid point. I was going to say that you could have drafted a better normal type, but you have Megalopony, and I thought it was pure fighting. That is my fault. But yeah, that is going to be your Lechonk Division power rankings. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let's move on to our next division, that being... Alright, next up here we have the Swinub Division. Now, this one I'm going off the same characteristics as the Lechonk Division, but as a reminder, it is, I want a fast electric type, or just an electric type in general, a very solid ghost type, that your cores are in tech, which is your Fire, Water, Grass core, and your Fairy, Steel, Dragon core, and that your removal and Terra Captains are good/interesting. Next up, we will be doing the same order as the one before, which is going to be from 7 all the way down to 1. 1 being the best, 7 being the, well, I guess worst, even though all these teams are interesting in their own manner. Now, my 7th spot is going to the all over the place double weather and double terrain team from Bring 15. Now, as you can see, right, you have Psychic Terrain aspect with Tapu Lele. You have a Terra Arboliva with Grassy Terrain, even though it doesn't have it as Seed Sower, but it sets Grassy Terrain. You have Politoed to set the rain. You have Torkoal to set the sun. And just add all that, you have like our Chaladon and Quaquaval for rain. You have Mega Swampert for rain. You have Beartic for rain. You have Hisuian Typhlosion for sun. You have Tropius for sun. And then you just have a random Garganical. Like, just throw Garganical in there. It'll fine. The removal on this team is meh. You don't really want to run Rapid Spin on Quaquaval. You're gonna have to bring Torkoal for your removal in this case. But the Terra Captains, I will say, are very cool. I love me some Terra Arboliva and Terra Hisuian Typhlosion. I also do love the aspect of Terra Tropius, even though I've never been able to use it. Next up, we have the 6th team, which is Appointed Con. On this team, it's mostly here because of how bad the speed tiers are. Like, you have Gran at 122. Whimsicott's up there too. But then it just dropped by like 95 from Galarian Darmanitan. And that's just too much of a gap for me. So no. The removal on this team is good, however, though. You have Defog on Corviknight, Rapid Spin on Terra Colossal. You have some very odd picks, as I said, Whimsicott. But don't know why it's on this team. You also went with Round 1 and Round 2 Corviknight Clodsire combo, which is also very, very weird. This team really doesn't have many breakers. The breakers on this team are Gren with the choice specs, Raging Bolt with booster energy, and I guess Galarian Darmanitan, and then Slitherwing's also a breaker, but that has to be banded. But this team is also very good in the hazards department. Colossal bringing some spikes and stealth rocks, Clodsire bringing toxic spikes, and yeah. This team also has some pretty good Terra Captains. Terra Colossal and Terra Giraffe are known to be good Terra Captains, so I'm hoping he can do well. I just don't like the team personally. Next up, though, is my number 5 spot. We have Mr. Monkey. Now, from the point of recording this, he already played his Week 1 game. He won 5-0. But I think the team can take some work on it, okay? So, he's got some very good cores here. Mega Mawile and Salamence for the Dragon Fairy Steel core. And in case you don't want to go that way, he even has Bastiodon in the back. He has some very cool Terra Captains in Terra Vikavolt, Wugtrio, and Bastiodon. His removal is definitely top tier with Donphan. and Tytheguy for defog, even Salamence as defog. The breakers, while they are a bit lackluster, being only the Iron Moth, Mega Mawile, and a, I guess, choice banded Hoop Button Down or slash Wugtrio, they can definitely work. Alright? And then, last but not least, Lechonk, being one of this team's normal types. I apologize, I did not see the Porygon 2. But that does prove my point though, on a type overlap is pretty frequent on this team. As you get the normal overlap, we have a steel type overlap. We have I swear there was one more that I'm just not thinking of right now. But besides the point, Terra Captains, by the way, going back to them, I do love Terra Vikable, and I love the aspect of trying out Terra Wugtrio, as I feel like with that, I feel like with the attacks that it has, it could be very good. But now, moving on to the 4th place team, that being Bandito, and there's a lot of reasons for this one. So, first off, no fire type, which is very important in Draft League, and you have no electric type, also very important, as I said before. You have a double fairy, however, somehow, with Enamorus and Sylveon. I don't really see the need for Sylveon on this team. It's good as especially defensive pivot, but you have Mega Ground, so you should be fine in the bulk environment. You also have some very good physical and special breakers in Shenpao, Pokemon Wellspring, and Enamorus Incarnate. You just have a absolutely random Flygon on this team. Don't know why. Maybe you needed a Dragon type. But if you really wanted that, you could have went for something else. The removal on this team is meh, as the only form of removal that I see at least is going to be Brambleghast with Rapid Spin, and potentially Hisuian Braviary with Defog. But if you run Hisuian Braviary, you want to run it offensively, and Brambleghast is not coming to many games. Besides that, Terra Captain's very, very good. Oh my. Hisuian Braviary is one of the better Terra Captains in the game, alongside Rhydon. Rhydon's also very good as Terra Captain. Hope that this team could put work in. And yeah, moving on to the 3rd place team, we have VAR. This dude has some top tier removal. He's got Great Tusk in the house. That's it. Hitmonlee, pretty sure has Rapid Spin. Don't know why, but Rotom Heat has Defog. Like, it's just very, very, very good Defoggers and Rapid Spinners. Next up is the interesting snow aspect. He does have Galarian Snow King to set the snow up for his Terra Arctivish, if he decides to. But he also has a little Vulpix to the corner. So it can go very ways. The Terramons of the team are incredible. Hitmonlee being very, very good. Alongside Arctivish. Arctivish would be interesting to see how that works out for VAR. And Regigigas, if Regigigas is played right, it can work. Now, continuing on, the cores on this team are very solid. Fire, Water, Grass completing with Ogerpon, Arctivish, or Heat, and Dragon Fairy Steel with Mimikyu and Hisuian Gudra. This team also has some very good physical and special breakers in the Ogerpon, Darkrai, Great Tusk, and Hitmonlee. And this team has so many different win cons, it's crazy. So Great Tusk can win games for him, Ogerpon can win games for him, Mimikyu can win games for him, Darkrai can win games for him, Arctivish can, Hitmonlee can, Hisuian Gudra can. There's just so many win cons on the team that I feel like he's gonna pull something out of his ass every single week. Has some heat. Next up, though, we move into our top 2 teams. Coming in second, being Itkasalork. This team is really just a balanced team. Like, this is just so balanced. Has good removal in the Tapu Koko with Defog, Mega Pidgeot with Defog, Volcarona with Defog, and the Terra Delmise with Rapid Spin. There are threats all over the place in this team with Koko, Garchomp, Iron Crown, Mega Pidgeot, Volcarona, and Okidogi. The Terra Captains in this team are also very, very good in Delmise and Regirock, with Delmise probably being the better one out of the two. And there is some very cool Sticky Web and other hazards on this team, such as Stealth Rock and Spikes from Garchomp, and Toxic Spikes from Okidogi, assuming it can learn it. I do not have any confirmation on that. The combos on this team is indeed doing good in the Fire, Water, Grass core with Arachnoid, Volcarona, Delmise, and the Dragon Steel Fairy core. Wait a minute. Nope, I'm not stupid. Okay, Tapu Koko, Garchomp, Iron Crown. Besides that, I feel like we can move on to our number 1 team in the Swinub Division, that being the Voids team. The breakers on this team are absolutely top tier. You have Iron Valiant, Melmetal, Curum, Entei, Iron Jugulus. So many threats on this team, it's crazy. And if you don't even want to keep those threats out the way, right? This team is a snow team. So you could set up the snow with Slowking and sweep your ass with Alolan Sandslash. Oh my god. And even after all of that, this team has such a good defensive core in the Amoonguss, Slowking, and Gligar. Oh my god. Now, however, the removal is pretty meh with Alolan Sandslash being the only Rapid Spinner and Defog being on Gligar. The hazards are really good. Spidops has Spike. Spidops has Stealth Rock. No, it does not, my bad. Has Sticky Web. Spidops has Toxic Spikes. You have Stealth Rock on Gligar. You just have all the hazards, man. And I feel like Vivoid is going to have a very, very good season in the PDL. But now we shall move on to our next division. That being, ladies and gents, we've moved on. We are now at the Tepig Division. And these 7 teams were very tough to rank, in my opinion. But I found a reasonable thing for me and with some other opinions. So first off, we have in 7th place, Manipulate. This team has no real breaker. Oh my, okay, sorry if I sound weird. I'm not feeling the best, my voice is a little bit off, but it gets different day recording, of course. Got no real breakers on this team. I mean, like, the only one I could see off the top of my head is Choice Band and Lycanroc, but everything else kind of needs some setup to really break and has some easy counters. This team's got some nice cores. They have the Grass Fairy Water, or Grass Water Fire, and their Steel Fairy. Dragon cores. Hazards are half decent. You have Toxic Spikes, so you have your Spikes. Wait, do you have Spikes? No, you don't have Spikes. You have Stealth Rock on a couple mons. Besides that, defensive backbones are pretty cool. You have Mega Venu, Metagross, Rotomosh, Zygarde. Just a very defensive team with Chansey on here too. And the Terra Captain are just meh. Shandy is way too slow, in my opinion, to be a good Terra Captain. Same with Honchkrow. If they were a little bit faster, they would probably be really good. But next up, we've got Gray. Very strong top 2 in Bundle and Urshifu Single Strike. Those two can easily carry you to some wins, but this team has way too many type overlaps. From the double water type with Fire Bundle Toxapex, to the double grass with Zalrina Hydrapple, and even a triple ice type with Arctozolt, Ninetales Alola, and there was a third that I just can't. Well, hold on, 1, 2. There was not. Oh, bundle. Duh. There was even a, I believe, double. No, never mind. I'm just stupid. Yeah. The snow aspect on this team is very cool with the Ninetales and Arctozolt combo. Love me some Arctozolt. The Terra Captives are good. I would have loved to see a Terra Arctozolt on this team, but Stack Attack and Typhlosion are still really good in their own opinion. And on this team, the only Ghost type is Dusclops, which is just meh. You also, hold up, you have an Arctozolt as your Electric type, which is good under snow. Without snow, it will not be that strong and you will not bring it to many games. Next up though, in the 6th spot, we got Bailey Perry 707. This is an extremely defensive team, like someone's trying to stall everyone out. Has a little bit of breaking potential with Roaring Moon, Mienshao if it's Choice Banded, some other stuff like that. The core is very nice. You have Steel Dragon Fairy with the Mega Ult, Celesteela Roaring Moon, and Fairy Fire, Water, Grass Fire with Quag, Arcanine, and Roserade. The removal is also nice on this team as you have Defog Celesteela, Rapid Spin Cryogonal, and Defog on a couple more mods that I'm forgetting. Ghost type, being Runerigus, isn't the best, but I see that Bailey is going to have to make it work, as it's the only ground type on this team. The electric type issue on this team, though, Zebstrika is not a very strong electric type, in my opinion, and a lot of people will agree with me with that. But it's just not that strong, and I do hope it does good. But it's not, sorry about that, not up to standards of what I want as an electric type on a team. 5th, we got Daniel K. Daniel, you have a very strong physical team. Looking at those top 4, Genesect, Landorus, Weavile, and Iron Hands. And you even have Ceruledge down the list. You also have some very strong Terra Captains in the Espeon, Appleton, and then you have Shuckle. Like, Shuckle isn't that strong, but with the Terra, it could be pretty cool. The cores are pretty nice on this team with Water, Grass, Fire, be Appleton, Ceruledge, and Tentacruel, and you have your Fairy, Steel, Dragon Core with Genesect, Megalon, no, and Appleton. Now this team is a little bit ground spamable once Appleton Terras into a different type. Because if you don't, you're probably bring Landorus to most battles. Bronzong, probably to most battles too. But you're kind of forced to bring some sort of air balloon, I feel like, just because of how weak it is once you get those two on. And the hazards and the removal on this team are pretty good. You have Rapid Spin on Tentacruel, Magic Bounce Espeon. You also have Stealth Rock on Landorus, and Toxic Spikes on Tentacruel. And then you have Shuckle. Shuckle is everything. 4th spot, though, we got Meowdoria. Now, Meow, you have a very, very big issue, which is the electric type issue. That was a misclick. I'm sorry about that. But there are situations where you do not have an electric type. If you Terra that Morpeko into either Dark, Grass, or Ghost when it is in the Hangry form, you do not have access to electric type moves. As your only one would be Aura Wheel, unless you run Thunder Punch. If you can run Thunder Punch, but Aura Wheel is the way to go. Aura Wheel will be locked into a Dark type move, and you don't want that. So just be aware. You have some very strong breakers though in Shaman Sky, Terapagos, and Mega Gallade. Some very cool defensive pieces in the Skarmory, Florges, Volcanion, and Cofagrigus. Terra Florges is pretty cool. I can see it being some working done. Morpeko, I don't like it at all. But Florges, I see it working. At half the cores in the same I finish, you have your Fire, Water, Grass core with Shaman and Volcanion. And then you have your Grass. No, my bad, Fairy. Fairy Steel, Dragon core with Florges, Skarmory, and there's no Dragon type on this team set. Next up though in the 3 spot, as you already saw, it was Scythe, or maybe Scythe. We'll call Scythe. Scythe, God. It's got a very balanced team here. This seems like something I would draft, personally. The cores in this team are all finished, with Mega Scizor, Tapu Fini, and Goodra being the Dragon Fairy Steel core. And Salazzle, you don't have a grass type, do you? No, there's no grass type. I'm blind. Sorry about that, guys. I lied. I just was so locked on Fire Water right away, but it's fine. Terra Captains on the team are very cool. I do love me some Terra Hariyama and Terra Chino. Hazard and removal are neat, as you have the Tidy Up option from Chino. Thundurus Therian with Defog, Tapu Fini with Defog, Mega Scizor with Defog. And it can be a very scary team if used properly. I'm hoping Scythe has a very good season. And yeah, let's move into pick number 2 for the season, who is Club Chase Sharp. Now, these top 2, oh my god, were the hardest to choose in the whole thing. Actually, did I give him 1? I did. This is 1. My bad. This was 2. I was off by 1. Okay, Club is the number 1 team in the league. He has some very strong breakers and Gouging Fire, Ursaluna Blood Moon, Mega Blastoise, and I would even include Toxtricity, but it's not set up, so no. Goated defensive options on this team include Gouging Fire, Scizor, Mega Blastoise, Uxie, Houndstone, Comfey, Silvally, and that's it. There's so many sweepers on the team, it's crazy. I'll give you a list, okay? Gouging Fire, Ursaluna Blood Moon, Scizor, Toxtricity, Mega Blastoise if Shell Smash is allowed, I do not know if it is. Uxie, Houndstone, Comfey, and Silvally. That's it. You have a little weak on the hazard and removal wise side, as you have hazard setting on nothing that I see, but you have Stealth Rock on Uxie, but I'm not that worried about that. Your removal is going to be Mega Blastoise, Rapid Spin, or Defog from Scizor, /Comfey, /Silvally, /Dodrio. You have a little bit of type overlap with the normal type on Dodrio and Ursaluna, the electric type on Toxtricity and Hisuian Electrode, but I'm not that worried about that. And Silvally can go in any type, so I'm not. No. So that is your Tepig Division right there. Let's move on to our very last division of the video, that being... Alright, we're back with our last division, that being the Spoink Division. I don't got much else to say. This is going to be the lowest tier division in the league. So yes, I went from high to low. I know, but it was easier for me. I apologize. But in 7th place, we have Pretty Lilis, or Lilis, I don't know how you want to say it. There's not many synergy in this team. The team does have some great cores though, with Blaziken, Lantern, and Tapu Bulu being your Fire, Water, Grass core, and Treads, Tapu Bulu, and there's no Dragon type, so I can't even talk about that. Terra Caps on this team are strong, but not, or Caps are cool, but not the strongest. Scyther, odd, no Trevenant. And I'm going to try to talk more on the fly on this one, because I don't really have any notes to put down. They're quite ground weak. Besides Tapu Bulu helping with the Grassy Surge and the levitating mons they have. But I also see that Fire is a little bit of an issue, as your resisted is not that many. I'm pretty sure Lantern should be good. Besides that though, you have like Glamora and Blaziken, which aren't the strongest defensively. So yeah. I do really like Terra Scyther though, especially in a format like this where you have not many options to draft Terramons. Flying, Fighting, Dark, probably not the best types that I went for, but hey, I'm gonna let her cook, assuming it's a her, and if it's not, sorry. Next up in the 6th spot, we have Okage. Now from here on out, all the teams are very good and balanced, but it just depends on where I want to put them. This one I'm putting here because it has some very strong breakers, such as Annihilate, Rillaboom, Terra Kilowattrel, and Galvantula. The Terra Captains are sick. I love Terra Kilowattrel and Terra Pheasantipity. Nice defensive core in Heatran, Grimmsnarl, Vaporeon, and Pheasantipity. The double Darumaka at the bottom. Love that. And the removal on this team is meh. I know they have Magic Bounce Diancie, but they don't have a Rapid Spin. And they had Defog on one mod. So it's kind of why it ended up so low compared to some of the other teams. Next up, we have Porchi. This team's all over the place. But it has a very good core with Ursaluna, Zapdos, and Krozma just being able to pivot around each other with all the other mons in addition. The Terra Captains on this team are very cool in Drifblim, Slurpuff, and Probopass. Now on a team like this, there are threats everywhere. Necrozma, Darmanitan, Keldeo, Ursaluna, Drifblim, Klefki sometimes, Slurpuff, Probopass, and Rivavroom all can be threats in their own manner, and I'm hoping we can see Porchi do a little bit better than what I'm hoping. Or what I'm seeing so far in the 5th spot. In the 4th spot though, we have Major come back. Now, top 3 on this team are incredibly scary in Hammerot, Tornistarian, and Mega Alakazam. But it kind of gets let down by not having the best defensive core. Like, it's not bad, but it's not the best in Registeel, Rotom-Mow, Mudsdale, and him on top. They have pretty good removal on this team as they have Rapid Spin him on top, and Defog on Tornadus and Rotom, and they have some good hazards with Mudsdale, Registeel, Ceaseless Edge Samurott, and no Toxic Spikes. Which, now that I see it, this team doesn't have a Grounded Poison type. Which I'm sorry about that. So I would honestly maybe swap, like this would go up by 1, and this would go down by 2 to like switch those. Or no, I think we just switched it like that, but it's fine, okay? They have some really good Terramons though, him on top and Iron Thorns being 2 of the best in my opinion. But yeah, let's go into our number 3 pick, which is going to really be number 3, Diamond 35. It's our first Sand team of the video. I love the team composition on this squad. Golden Go matches so well up with Tyranitar and Dracovish. But he has some very nice defensive cores with Reuniclus, Buzzwole, Mega Steelix, and Lilligant, or even Golden Go, Tyranitar, Dracovish. And the Terras in the team are, we'll say, good. Jolteon and Flareon are normally strong. Absol, I'm very interested to see how that works. You could have very possibly went Terra Lilligant if it's allowed. I have no idea, it might not be. But yeah, besides that, I like the team. The cores are really good. Golden Go, Dracovish, Rabombi for the Dragon Fairy Steel core, Flareon, Lilligant, and there's no water type. Oh no, Dracovish for the Fire Water Grass core. Next, in the number 2 spot, we have Stay and Save. This team is very well balanced with tons of removal from Mandibuzz. Seismitoad, I want to say, has Defog, but I could be wrong. Galarian Weezing, Mantine. Tons of setup and just threats in general. It was Spectrier, Sneasler, Mandibuzz, Kommo-o, Ogerpon Cornerstone, and Leavanny. And there's no fire type on this team. That is kind of why it's on number 1. If there was a fire type in this team, I think it definitely would be higher. I would maybe replace Terra. I would say maybe replace Terra Seismitoad with something that could give you Terra and make Mantine and something else Terra. Next, in number 1, we have Young Vegeta. This team is extremely scary, with threats absolutely everywhere, from Pecharunt to Urshifu Rapid Strike. The removal on this team is pretty good since you have Fortress, but you also have Defog on a couple things in each case. The hazards are also pretty good as you have Cresselia and Fortress. Fortress has every hazard pretty much. And your defensive cores are pretty nice with Pecharunt, Jirachi, Cresselia, and I don't know, Fortress maybe if you want to bring that. But yeah, that is going to be your Tepig Division. I wish there was more I could speak on, but these teams were just like very bland in my opinion. Sorry, that's a little bit of diss. They were not to my liking while ranking because it was very hard to do this, but I did it. I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed. If you didn't, well, hopefully I can change your mind with a couple of my other videos. Either go over to my channel, which is going to be linked in the description, or maybe in the title. I don't know how he's going to do it. But it's either going to be in the description or the title. Go check out some of my other videos. Those are definitely going to be the ones where you're going to learn more about me. Besides that, I hope you guys enjoyed me doing this, and I will be back for some watch-alongs / coach rankings, and maybe I'll get in a couple interviews while I'm at it. Besides that, hope you all have a good day, and peace out.